Hello there and welcome back to my YouTube channel and to today's video all about how to secure an accounting internship. Now, I'm delighted to be joined today by Emma Stubbs, who is a University of Manchester student who has recently secured an internship at EY. My name is James. I'm a lecturer at the University of Lincoln and I completed an internship working out in America through Camp America as a business office assistant in North Carolina. So we're going to talk about today all of our top tips, how to get on an internship, whether you're applying for the Big Four, small firm, whatever it may be. We're going to walk and talk it through on there. So Emma, kick us off. From gaining your internship, what springs to mind as one of the most important things that could help someone out who's listening away?
Apply for everything and anything, really. I think don't be specific. I only want to work for the Big Four, because realistically, your odds are against you. Apply to everything just to get part of the process, learn it. No, it's just getting used to the industry, because every company is slightly different and they're not all going to be for you. The Big Four aren't necessarily for you. So you've got to make sure you fit as well, not just about where they are or who they are. It's about putting yourself in a place where you're going to grow, and your career can grow kind of anywhere. So it doesn't matter. There's loads. I saw ones in the NHS, for example. Now, that's not something that I think I'd naturally think accounting, obviously, but any of these situations can help you grow, and just having that experience on your CV can make the difference.
Massive.
So don't be too picky. I think that's a big important one.
Yeah, you can just pop in on Google, top 100 accounting firms in the UK or in whichever country you may be watching this, and you can just go off one by one as you go down, log onto their website, do your background research, and I completely agree with you. Well, you've got to go work for a firm where you're going to grow as a person and develop as well on there. What about your CV or resume, Emma? What are we going to put on there? What has to be on there?
Now, do you know what? I actually wasn't asked by any of the Big Four, or not many actually even asked for my CV. That was one thing that did shock me.
Really?
Because they didn't ask me for much. So you do, but I think it's still important to have the background there. You don't need to show it off, but having some sort of background, maybe, let's say I got a part-time job at M&S. So having that experience with customers and being able to have that level of professionalism, I think that did help. I spoke about that a lot in my interview as well.
Yeah.
Generally going to internships, insight days, anything like internship experiences where they kind of let everybody on. So you don't need to worry about not getting onto that. Having those kind of experiences can help you kind of get in contact with people that do work in those companies you want to work for, and then you can reach out to them. So I think you need to still do it. You need to get it's a big thing is networking. I think that's a massive thing that people underestimate massively, networking, and being able to show those skills is also really good for your CV. Definitely. Because it shows that you can work with these people in a professional manner. Yeah. So I think just try as much as you can. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. You don't need to go do like a million internships, and you just need to get a basic understanding of what you're going into, really, because I know a lot of people struggle getting the internships, and then they think, if I don't get that, how am I going to get on to the next stage? You can do it. Lots of people do it without the background experience, but I think it just gives you that confidence to be able to go in there and walk in there and know that you do deserve that place.
I agree with you. And on connections, you've got to get yourself on LinkedIn as well. Set up a professional account on there. If you don't have LinkedIn, you're at a disadvantage, because all the recruiters of all these firms, the first place that I'd be looking is on LinkedIn. Let's see how you are professionally, all those skills in there. And to be honest with you, you've got to be careful with your own personal social media and what you're posting out there, because if it's all public and they put in your name online, they can see what you've been getting up to on a Friday night or anything like that, or historically on there. Has that happened to any of your friends? Have you heard about it from your processes you've gone through?
I've heard some people, they almost secured the role, and then someone searched up their Instagram and then they've lost it. So because they were told, if you were working with a client and they searched up your name and they found these things, they wouldn't be happy with you working with them. So it's not that you can't post funny things and things like that on your Instagram. You just got to be aware that if someone wanted to work with me, would they look at that and think, no way.
Is that
I do think
credible?
LinkedIn is a massive thing. That's why I attended the Bright Network events again.
Mhm.
I started off those events with like 4 connections on LinkedIn, and I ended it with 400. And I
Awesome.
only attended 2. It's such a great way to get a wide network quickly. And I think having that big network's really useful. And you
Yeah.
don't need to be super active on it, I don't think, but it is really a brilliant platform to generally just know a bit more about the industry. But it's also
Yeah.
nice to see like what your friends are doing, and they go, oh, I didn't realize they even applied for that, and it's really nice they got that internship. And you can kind of get knowledge from other people that maybe you wouldn't have known before, because not everyone's going to walk around showing off all these things in everyday life, but a big part of LinkedIn is just showing off. So you can see
Yeah.
someone that's already got an internship, and you can message them directly and go, any tips? And
Yeah.
it's just so useful.
Can you help me out? I always recommend Bright Network. I mean, I can put it in the description of this video below, but Bright Network, I always recommend to my students. There's another one called the Farage.com on there, which has online internships, really good. And if you're at university, or you can buy them online as well. I know at Lincoln University, we do a discount on it, but Excel courses was another one that really helped me out. I didn't realize how I was all right. I don't know about you, but I felt, oh, I'm reasonable at Excel. You go into the workplace, oh my word, I need to learn a lot more about this very quickly. I wish I'd have done more courses on it. But what are the things at university you're doing to help yourself stand out? I mean, you said you're working part-time. You're doing anything else?
I run a society as well, but I don't think you need to run a society. I think being part of one's really good. It's just important to keep busy. So I'm a student ambassador as well, which is also a very good thing to do, because you get paid for working for the university, and it's really simple, but it helps you get more communication skills. So I walk around and tell people about my degree and give them a tour of the university, but generally just being kind of an active part of the university, lots of different things going on. It doesn't have to be too many commitments, because you need to also look after yourself, but committing to things that are external to your degree is, I think, they want to see what you do. They want to see that you don't just sit there and do a university degree, because that's good, but they want a little bit more from you.
Got to be proactive on it. It's next thing is commercial awareness. I always preach to my students as well. So incredible resources. So you've got the Financial Times, you've got Reuters as well as another good one. And I personally, I don't know about you, Emma, but I listen to Audible. So I put my headphones in, I'll listen to podcasts, little things that are going on, and other people out there in different other professions. What do you read around the subject that helps you out?
I listen to a lot of Spotify podcasts. So I think PwC has one. I've listened to that a few times. And even simple things, BBC World News. Yeah. That one really just, it's like a lot of the business kind of side. There's a lot going on that I had no idea was going on. And they're really interesting to listen to. So I'll go to the library and do my work and just have that on in the background. But I'm basically absorbing knowledge there that is still relevant, and it could be more useful later on as well. So I think it's just, you're right, commercial awareness, I think, is the key, really. I didn't even know what the Big Four was until I just started my degree. And it's so important that you're aware, not only of the companies, but the roles as well. I think that's a big thing. I didn't really know what an accountant does, but when you actually look at these bigger companies, there's not one fixed role. There's so many different areas. Yeah.
And if you get onto one of the grad schemes as well, you could do, say, 3 months in assurance, 3 months in audit, 3 months in tax, and then you can sort of cherry pick which area that you particularly like. But you've got to put yourself out there and get yourself proactive as well. That's the other key thing on there. I mean, any other top tips from your experience of applying for internships that spring to mind? Maybe some of the psychometric tests, or anything else involving the process? I'd say you're going to have to be a resilient person, and you are going to get rejected.
You've got to, it's horrible when you get rejected, but you've got to get back up again and apply to another one. So I always had this rule in my head that I always had 5 on the go at once. So once I got rejected from one, I'd apply to another one. And it's because the application processes, you don't realize how long they're going to take, but they're going to take you hours. And you have to do your research as well, because you don't want to have done all this preparation to sit in like a video interview and then not be able to answer the question because you haven't done your research. So you've got to actually commit yourself enough time to do it and research. You don't need to know everything. I remember sticking a sheet on my wall all about the background of EY. I knew who the director was and the CEOs and when it was started, and that's not needed. But you need to know what's going on with them at the moment. Great way to do it, I think, is I just searched the names up in the Financial Times to kind of see what was going on.
Yeah.
So there's normally some sort of like controversy going on, but it's just kind of good to know what's happening, whether they've like just got a great big new client. It's a really good thing to drop in an interview or something, because it just shows that you are one step ahead of everybody else. Yeah. So it is just research, and it is going to take you a long time, but if you genuinely are committed to this, I think it will work out well. Yeah. And another one is a really big point is knowing what you're applying for. So I applied to a range of different roles. So I remember one was a forensic accounting internship, and it sounded really cool, but then when I actually read into what that was, I was like, that is not right for me. And I remember thinking, I really hope I don't get this one, because I don't know if I'll fit that well. And some companies do like a test, like where you can just do it freely and go, what department do we think you'd be good at? Which is why I went for assurance at EY, because that's what it suggested for me. And now I know more about what assurance is, I agree. So I think research the role, because the odds are at some point in that process, they're going to go, and what about the line that you selected? What is about that works for you, and why should you do it? And if you don't know how to answer that, that's not going to help you. So don't just think about the companies, think about where you see yourself. Because if you go into, say, tax, and that is not for you, it could put you off accounting, which would be wrong, because you might be perfect for another area that you just haven't researched.
Well, you know, we've got to make accounting cool again, Emma, because it always gets a bad press on there. But back on, just on touching on something you mentioned, making the most of all of the free resources and career days that actually these companies put on, where they're actively looking for you to attend. But again, you can just drop in if you get to that interview or to the assessment stage. Have you been to any of those?
I went to one with EY, and I've been to some other ones with other companies, but it's great because you can ask questions directly. And I had it just before my interview, and obviously I went into assurance, but when you ask most people, I even asked my lecturer what assurance was, and they said, I cannot tell you, because it is different. Everywhere it's different, every day is different. And I didn't know how I would answer that question. If somebody said, so what would your day be like in assurance? I didn't know. So by talking to people, and I kind of got the answer that every day is completely different. But knowing that that is like the correct answer, I guess, really helped me with my confidence, because I was so nervous about that question, because I didn't want to just freeze and go, I haven't done the research, or you can't really make it up on the spot. So you've got to know kind of what you're committing yourself to massively.
Yeah, but just putting yourself out there. The other resource that I found was quite helpful, and now I help out ACCA on it, is the professional bodies. So whichever one you want to be part of, or maybe you're just a student who's interested in accounting, CIMA, ACA, ACCA, ICAS, all the rest of it. They put on career days, insight, webinars, all the rest of it. Really, really helpful. A lot of time and resources going into it. And people get a lot out of it, improving their CV, if they're doing cover letters, all the rest of it. Have you been to any of those?
I have been to an ACCA one. I didn't really spend much time there, to be honest. I wish I did. But just generally being on their email list, they send you so much stuff that's actually quite useful and relevant stuff, and they'll let you know about what's going on.
Topical,
and it's things like, I didn't realize, it was actually when I watched your TikToks even, about how to find out my exemptions. So I knew I had them, and I didn't know exactly where, and when I asked my lecturers, they couldn't give me a clear answer, to be honest. So finding out, using things like the ACCA website and getting used to it was really good to find out your exemptions. And I didn't realize at the time is I would have like different levels. So like CIMA, I think I have more with them than I do with ACCA, and that can actually make a difference. So that's another thing I did before I went into my interview, is they asked me about exemptions, and because I researched that, I could give them an answer on how many I should have.
Well, thank my video on TikTok.
So it's just, I think they're very useful to get to know. And I think if you are looking at maybe doing accounting and aren't at university yet, it can make an influence on your decisions. Because that was one thing that was a key decider for me. How many exemptions am I going to get if I go to this university? Because it can be quite useful later on.
Yeah, oh, definitely. No, I got 7, I think it was, from my degree on there, but I still had to do five exams or whatever it was, but still very tough. But definitely something to bear in mind on there for it. And if you're going for an internship, some of that experience may qualify for it as well. So definitely worth asking about it. But I mean, are there any other final points from all of your internship experience, Emma, that come to mind? I mean, for me, if you're doing an international one, visas, you've got to look into the process and references. It all takes longer than you think. Vaccinations is another key one, and insurance, I have to say on record, because I know people who turned up for the internship overseas and didn't have insurance on there. So if something went wrong, oh my word. So please, I mean, if you've got any questions, leave me a comment at the bottom, or for Emma or myself. But is there anything else that springs to mind, Emma, your way, that you go, oh, I couldn't sleep tonight if I didn't mention that?
I think just don't give up. It's really easy to. And even if you don't get anything that period, most companies will let you reapply after 6 months. So keep that in mind. So maybe you only got to the video interview stage this time, but you've done it now and you know you can get that far. So try again and see if you can get further. I think that is the most important thing to remember, is if you start early, you've got so many chances rather than just kind of going for it at a graduate level. And even if you are going it at a graduate level, you've got to just keep going. You don't have to get in that first year. You can retry again. I think that's another important thing, is it's just not giving up, which is, it's not going to be easy, but if you can genuinely be committed to it, it will pay off.
Yeah, I can tell you now, and I can sense it in your voice as well, those Saturday, Sunday mornings, or those late nights applying and the research, no one's going to come to tell you to do it, okay? No one's going to pull open your door and say, right, come on, James, time to go on LinkedIn and message 10 people about working at this place or the other. Just set a goal out, whatever it may be, as to say, right, we're going to have 5 on the go, as you said, and just keep resilient on it, keep going. And I always had a couple of friends who were also applying, that we'd always message each other and hold each other accountable and say, oh, James, have you applied and done what you said? I had, oh no, I'm going to have to do it right now. So hang around with the right people who are going through the same process, and you'll support each other. I think will definitely help.
And keep a look at the deadlines. Always look for the deadlines.
Good point. Because they, especially if you're applying for 5 or 6 or so, then one might be the end of the month, one might be in 3 months' time. Oh,
you can tell yourself, oh, I'll apply for that next week, and then you look and it's gone, and then you're like, oh.
Well, it's I mean, we've talked about such a variety of things today, so thank you again so much. And but the final key message is just get as proactive as possible. It's going to be a marathon, not a sprint on this. But hey, there may be someone, Emma, who's watching this and goes, James, I've applied for one and I've got it straight away. And they're going, good on you. It didn't happen to me. So yes, you'll be fine. But if you've got any questions, guys, from anything we've talked about today, or anything you've got from your application, I'd love to hear from you. And Emma, I'm sure as well, would love to hear how our advice has gone down, whether you've applied for an accounting firm, marketing, whatever it may be. Leave us a comment at the bottom. We'll keep in touch on there. And I'll also put, we talked about Bright Network. Oh, should I put the link down there for that, Emma? Would you recommend that?
Definitely. I 100% think Bright Network is such an amazing company, and it's really, really good to get using it.
Spot on. Lovely. Right, I'll put that down there as well. As ever, guys, make sure you subscribe so you get access to all the free materials. And thank you, Emma, for the lovely plug on my TikToks as well. But on that bombshell, we'll see you next time. We'll say bye.